As the coronavirus pandemic continues and the start of school is on the horizon, it's more important than ever to make sure your kids are properly prepared and healthy, no matter what the learning environment will be. Dr. Brandon Meyer, a pediatrician with Sanford Children's, joins us today to talk about what kids need to get back to school in a healthy way. Welcome back to the show.
It froze up.
Okay, and I'm having a little problem hearing, so I'm not sure if this connection is working or not right now.
Hello there.
I can't even hear right now. Okay, so
of course.
I'm just going to go ahead and say, what should parents be thinking about to prepare for a new school year?
Hi there. Hopefully this is working. With everything that's going on, it's still important for your child to see their doctor every year, even if they're healthy, and especially so if they're healthy. Well child visits allow doctors, parents, and their children themselves a chance to talk about nutrition, behaviors, school issues, immunizations, and many other age-important topics. And so if your child hasn't seen their healthcare provider yet this year, visiting them before the start of a new school year is a good idea.
I'm sorry, I was having a little bit of a difficulty hearing that just because of my connection here. But I'll just keep on asking questions. I'm not sure if you touched on this yet, but can we talk about immunizations?
Yes, immunizations are extremely important, as they've always been. Some parents, for good reason, have put off school visits and immunizations due to their fear of the COVID-19 pandemic. But the fact is they are putting their children at a much greater risk of getting serious preventable diseases such as measles, whooping cough, also called pertussis, as well as meningitis. And so children should be fully vaccinated to help keep them as well as other children safe. And if you make your well child visit appointments, you're able to talk to your child's provider about which vaccines they would be needing at each age.
Like we talk a lot about milestones when our kids are very little, but that continues, all throughout even really up to 18. So when we're talking about well child checks, there's lots of questions that you should just be, keeping that continuing conversation going with your pediatrician. Can we talk a little bit about, I find well checks very important, but how about physicals, sports physicals? Is there a difference between the well check and having a physical, and what differences would be checked?
Sports physicals can oftentimes actually be done during a well child check. Just make sure that when you schedule your appointment, you're able to mention that some sports physical forms will need to be filled out, and most pediatricians that I know will be happy to do that during that same time. However, sometimes there are a few specific questions that do need to be asked depending on the states, and each state has their own requirements. That being said, sports physicals are very important. We check various aspects of your child's health, including height and weight, their heart and heart rate, blood pressure, their lungs, stomach, vision, hearing, joints, bones, muscles, lots of good stuff just to make sure that your child is fully ready to participate in their sports, as well as looking into certain aspects of their own personal medical history and family history. That's the important thing. But honestly, the way that I do things, not too much different than some of the things that I talk about in their well child exams anyways.
Okay, and talking about sports and kids being so active, I know in some ways we might be going towards the orthopedic, physician, but sometimes it's your pediatrician who might see some of the strains and issues, maybe even growing pains before we even get to that point. When you said of all the things you do check before a physical, also with well check, are you seeing more of those issues than you maybe have in the past with kids being so active?
Not necessarily in my own practice, more of either which thing, because there are, while kids maybe are being more active in their own home lives, there haven't been quite as many organized sports activities where perhaps kids will be playing harder, that kind of thing. So in my own specific experience, I haven't been seeing too much of an increase in those kind of visits, sprains and concerns for fractures, that kind of thing. But they are definitely still happening. And if you're worried at all, please give us a call or stop in with your local provider.
Okay, make sure you do it. The clock is ticking. This is the last week of July. School will start just in really a couple of weeks, no matter what it is, whether it's in the classroom or that distance learning. It's still important to keep this checkup on the schedule. Doctor, thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome.
Stay with us. Coming up next here on North Dakota Today, we're cooking up some delicious protein-packed desserts.